it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, December 26th. So welcome to the full moon in Cancer day, and also the day that Chiron goes direct. We will have the moon in Gemini energy move into its void, of course, at 2:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be locking into Cancer energy at 10:16 a.m. There are 15 different aspects here today, a very busy day in the cosmos. 11 of them are going to involve the moon. I'm going to recommend that you take a listen to the full moon in Cancer forecast that I put out for your listening pleasure. And also, please download the moon guide if you want to kind of work through the energies, unpack some of the triggers and activations that, of course, will be illuminated under this full moon in order for us to purge, release the heaviness, the weight of this past year, of old cycles, of the old identity, so that we are walking into the new year as fresh, as clean, as light as possible. So while the moon is still in Gemini energy, we are going to see the moon square off with Neptune, who of course is in his place of power in Pisces energy. This is a conflict, this is a tension, because the moon in Gemini energy, very connected, rooted, anchored into the ego self. We are really looking at our external realms, piecing together information and details, formulating an opinion, an idea, a thought, if you will. And we are really not seeing that a lot of the situation, a lot of the circumstances that we're in right now require us to align with our higher selves. We have to have faith. We have to bring that spiritual aspect in, that magical, imaginative, creative energy in order for us to see that we are not the result of our external realms, and that if we can hold a picture, a vision, a dream in our mind's eye, then we can definitely overcome, alter, restructure the physical realm and reality that we're currently living in. The moon in this Gemini energy going to make an awkward interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, in the Scorpio energy, which is going to highlight for us where it is that we're still kind of divided, especially the thoughts, the feelings that we're currently trying to process where some relationship dynamics are concerned. I think that we are heading towards more of a choice point, more of a decision point, more of a cutoff point in some relationship dynamics, because our overall values are changing. Our priorities are changing. We have changed, and therefore everything about us and how we interact with the people around us that we truly value is changing as well. The moon is then going to directly oppose Mercury. So Mercury, of course, rules over the Gemini energy that the moon is in. Mercury is now retrograde in Sagittarius energy. The Gemini, Sagittarius energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel and represent the axis of knowing, Gemini energy, versus belief, Sagittarius energy. So because the moon is our heart space and Mercury is our head space, and they're sitting across from each other, let's say in a confrontation, if you will, it's because emotionally speaking, we want to root in what it is that we know, but sometimes rooting in what it is that we know is pretty dark, pretty bleak, versus what we think could be possible for us, what we choose to believe in, what we want to fantasize about. That seems a little bit more idealistic, a little bit better of a vibe at this particular point. So although our heart wants us to rely on the information of what is in this here and now present moment, our headspace is trying to push the boundaries on what could be if we just made some adjustments, if we just opened up our mind, opened up our heart space just that much further. So it is at this point in time that the moon in Gemini is going to go void of course. And while the moon is void of course, and again, when the moon is void, things are shaky, things are unstable, things are uncertain. We start questioning some of the things that we were pretty solid in. And so the moon is going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, and this is a good thing because Chiron, again, still retrograde at this point. This means that there's an inner reflection of growth, of healing, of choice, of decision. We're seeing ourselves from a better perspective, a fresher set of eyes, so to speak. We're not fixated on the wounds. We're not fixated on what is broken. We're really starting to align with what is working for us, what is supporting us, what feels good. Now, Mercury is going to interact with Venus. And so this is going to be an interesting dynamic. It is a positive interaction, which means that we're having some profound insight, some aha moments, some rapid processing where changing of beliefs are concerned, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned as well. Venus, of course, in the Scorpio energy, doing the shadow work, really trying to identify where it is that we want closeness, we want connection, we want intimacy with the people around us. But yet there's a part of us that aren't feeling on the same page with that, almost feeling like we're on separate timelines, really bringing up a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of insecurity about our current relationship standings. This could also open a very strong line of communication to have some heart-to-hearts, to kind of resolve some issues if there is need for that. However, we are speaking a little bit kinder, a little bit more affectionate, if you will, and we're being a little bit more real, raw, and vulnerable with our truth, with our thoughts, with what it is that we're currently kind of feeling torn about. The moon, while still void in this Gemini energy, going to make an interaction with Pluto, which is the signature of change and transformation of the heart. Things may get intense. We are seeing the division between our heart and our head finally get in alignment. We are seeing an intensity of our emotions, of our thoughts come to a head, so to speak, and it's happening at the perfect time because the sun in Capricorn energy is going to be making an interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy, definitely opening up our head, our heart, to where it is that we can make some changes and make some progress here. We love this for us. We're not overly emotional. This is more of a realization because we've been in observation mode on what it is that we need to do. Again, coming to a choice point, coming to a decision point, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. The moon then locks into that Cancer energy, 10:16 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. We sit in that for approximately 4 hours-ish before we have our very first aspect. The moon in Cancer, of course, is a lot more introverted, a lot more wanting to stick to what is old, tried, tested, and true, definitely stuck in the past, definitely nostalgic, definitely romanticizing the past and painting our past experiences in a beautiful color that it just did not happen in. Okay, so the moon in Cancer is going to make a positive interaction with Venus. Venus, again, in Scorpio energy. This is water on water action. This is healing. This is transformative. This is growth. This is progression. This is soul. This is spirit. This is a realization on what has to change in our inner realms, where values, where priorities, where self-love, where self-worth is concerned, if we're going to continue to stay in some relationship dynamics that, of course, are lacking boundaries and really putting us in a tough position. Mercury then goes ahead, makes a positive interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who's retrograde in this Taurus energy, in a very positive way, which means that the highest level of our intellect connected to the higher realms of intelligence and the lower levels of our intellect, which of course Mercury is, they're talking to each other. They're, we're receiving downloads, we're receiving observations, we have new aha moments, epiphanies, insights. We're actually able to piece them together, articulate them, understand them in that lower level of our intellect that Mercury rules over. This is profound. This is a big vision. This is a big idea. This is a big dream that we're starting to make sense of. It's a beautiful build up to this full moon in Cancer. The moon is then going to go ahead and trine Saturn, who happens to be in Pisces energy. Again, water on water action. There is growth in our belief system. There's growth in our nurturing. There is growth in our emotions. There is growth in what it is that we want to do, what it is that we want to accomplish, and who it is that we want to do those things with. We're taking a grounded, logical, practical approach to what it is that we want to build, especially the bridge, to get us away from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The moon then makes a positive interaction with the North Node in Aries energy, which means that we're piecing together some steps. The plans are coming together. There's a little bit of clarity. We have this emotional, let's call it energy, pushing us to be inspired, to be motivated, to kind of break away from what isn't working and really hold on to and start building upon the things that are. The moon is then going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension and a conflict point with Uranus, the Great Awakener, retrograde in this Taurus energy, which is going to illuminate for us the part of us that wants to hold on to all that we've built, all that we've created, all that we have currently been experiencing, even though it is weighing very heavily on our heart space, even though we've outgrown it, even though we know that there's nothing left for certain aspects to teach us. Again, the moon in Cancer desperately holds on to the past, even though we know that we've been praying for change, we've been praying for growth, we've been praying for improvement, which means that we have to come to terms and make peace with releasing, letting go all of the energy, all of the weight, all of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that have us holding on for dear life to the old, to the past, to the aspects of the old version of self. 7:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have the moon in Cancer sit across from the sun in Capricorn. This is what gives us our full moon in Cancer. Again, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead, take a listen to that astro forecast, download the moon guide, take a listen to your December zodiac forecast if you haven't already, to understand where this is going to be taking place in your life. The moon, after it reaches its peak potency, is going to sextile beautiful interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, who is retrograde in this Taurus energy. This is like big ideas, big feels, positive emotions, confidence, self-esteem, new belief system, new vision, new dream, new goals. This is just a glow up like we haven't experienced, but of course follows that trigger, that activation point for that emotional release that, of course, the build up to that full moon should have provided you with. 8:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have Chiron, the wounded healer, go direct. So when Chiron is retrograde, we're doing a lot of inner reflection on our wounds, on our issues, on our insecurities, our fears, our doubts. Once Chiron goes direct, we come forth with a new warrior type of spirit. We're ready to tackle the issues. We're ready to push the boundaries of our comfort zone. We're ready to do what we have to do to heal the wounds that are currently holding us back from going after what it is that we want. So the fact that this is happening under the full moon in Cancer, again, why I said inner child wounds, the issues with the mother role definitely going to come to a head. The illumination, the observation of the home, of the family dynamic, what has changed, what hasn't changed, what needs to change, definitely going to put us in a brand new perspective, in a brand new direction on what it is that we have to tackle from here.